Hello guys, my name is Laurie. Welcome back to another edition of DR Boxing, the show that concentrates on all the relevant stories going on in the world of boxing. Now, you may have seen a lot of conjecture, a lot of criticism, a lot of furore over the Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou fight. We covered that on a previous show. Now let's get down to some real boxing. There's a couple of big fights going on in the space of a few days this weekend. First up, we got the Maxi Hughes versus George Kambosos fight taking place in Oklahoma. That takes place this weekend. But the bigger fight, I'm pretty sure we all agree with that, takes place over in Japan next Tuesday. And that is for the Super Bantamweight Unified Championship of the World. I think it's the WBO and the WBC titles, currently held by Stephen Fulton, Cool Boy Steph. He's defending his titles against superstar Naya Inoue, known as the Monster. Massive fight. Before I get my guests to comment, I'm just going to go for a quick tale of the tape. I think that's relevant. Let's start with Stephen Fulton, who's the champion, shall we? He's a, let's see. Burn up my notes here. Stephen Fulton, born in Philadelphia, age 30. Height of 5'6". Don't forget, we're super bantamweights. 5'6", super bantamweight. Reached 70.5 inches, orthodox stance, 21 fights, 21 wins, 8 KOs, not a big puncher, but no losses, a very accomplished boxer. His most notable wins, I would say, are Brandon Figueroa. That was a big unification fight. He won that on points. Angelo Leo, another good points win, and Daniel Roman, all good wins. Now let's have a look at Naya Inoue. He's the challenger in this particular fight. Let's have a look at his record.
24-0-0.
Yeah, born in Japan, nicknamed the Monster, 30 years old, 5'5", so slightly shorter than Cool Boy Steph. 67.5 inch reach, again, slightly shorter reach. Orthodox, 24 fights, 24 wins, 21 KOs, no losses, no draws. Massive puncher. In that part of the world, at least, he's a big superstar. He's on the pound-for-pound rankings. This is going to be a major event. Let's start with Nick, the voice of reason. Give us your views on this fight, bro.
It is hard to see Inoue not winning. I think Fulton is a super talented boxer, has the physical advantages, may need to actually rough Inoue up a little bit. He's similar to a Lomachenko in the sense that he fights people that are bigger and you expect him to be weaker than these guys. But he's very, very strong, Inoue, for his size, but you will have to rough him up. And it's going to have to be a good mix of getting aggressive and roughing him up and making it ugly, and then stepping back and using your boxing ability, because he has unbelievable knockout power.
He is coming up in weight, though, so you are right. He has got a big knockout percentage, obviously a very big puncher.
Yeah.
Seen him take guys out. I mean, some of his notable wins, he's beaten Nonito Donaire, who was an accomplished champ, former champ. He's beaten him twice, including the last time by knockout. Jason Maloney of Australia starched him. Jamie McDonnell beat him up very easily, couple of rounds. Paul Butler of the UK as well. I think he went something like 11 rounds, but he got completely beaten up and then taken out. Wasn't competitive, to be honest. So this guy is a legitimate superstar, big puncher.
Yeah.
James.
You're right. He's taken out more guys than Kim Kardashian, to be honest with you. And I think this could be one of the same. I think the trick, as you said, he's got to make it dirty. He's got to keep it close.
Fulton?
Yeah. No, not Fulton. Inoue.
Oh, Inoue, yeah. Because I was going to say Fulton is more of your classic boxer.
He is, because even though he's only a 1.5 inch shorter than him, he's got like a 3 inch shorter reach. So if he can get it close, if he can use the shorter arms to obviously generate more power inside, I think it could be an unexpected one. I think you're being a bit too harsh when you say you can't look past an Inoue win. You know, I think Fulton does stand a chance if he is able to keep it at range, if he's able to keep it slick, keep it sweet, keep him guessing. But
I think with this fight, really what strikes me about this
fight, would you say?
Not really, because I think whoever loses, still there is a pathway back to World Championships. I mean, you're talking about the elite level at this weight. Inoue's cleaned out the previous division, something that Tyson Fury refused to do. Anyway, we won't dwell on that. But he's cleaned out the division. He's stepping up in weight. He's taking on Cool Boy Steph, who is a very accomplished fighter. Shane, who would normally be with us, but he's abroad. I know he's big on Cool Boy Steph. And
He
if
loves
you've
a
seen him
fighter from
before-
Philly. Anyone from Philly, Shane loves him.
Well, I mean, listen, man. Cool boy Steph. You got Jerome Boots Ennis. They're repping Philadelphia hard right now.
They've got good fighters.
And let's not forget Danny Garcia, who's going to be fighting for a title soon as well. So, Philly is
Jumping
a
in the meat out there in
hotbed of
Philly.
boxing. But right now, in
A
the
lot of
city
young
of
guys over there.
Philadelphia, those two names do stand out. Jerome Boots Ennis and Cool Boy Steph. I've seen him fight several times. Very skilled boxer. Good hand speed, good footwork, good everything, man. The only thing I would say, though, he's not a big puncher. And I think that could prove to be the difference. That and the fact that the fight is being held over in Japan, which obviously is Naya Inoue's territory. He's like a god over there. This fight will be completely sold out. It's caught the attention of the whole country, apparently. It's massive. And you just get the impression that if the fight does go to points, which I think it might do, it's hard to
There's
see
going to be
him
some
not
funny
getting a
business in
decision
there.
over there.
And you've got a thing about this, haven't you? About the champion going over to the challenger's neck of the woods, because you said something similar when it was Cameron and Taylor. You said you're not really too keen on the challenger actually the champion having to travel to the challenger.
Yeah, well, I mean, most times that doesn't happen. I think when it does happen, as in this case, it's because the money that Stephen Fulton would be offered. Let's face it, this is a super bantamweight fight. The guys at the lower weights don't tend to make that much money. So if you're offered the opportunity to defend your belt against a superstar like Naya Inoue in his own country, where you know it's going to be sold out, the eyes of that part of the world are going to be on the fight, I would imagine he's been offering a considerable amount of money. And he probably looked at it and thought, you know what, I'm never going to make this money fighting anyone else. So I'll take the fight. So fair play to Fulton for taking the fight.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and fair play for traveling as well.
That's one thing I would say about American fighters. They don't always come outside of America.
But let's also think, if it is a close fight, if it does go to points, and if there is a bit of a dubious decision, he will have justified clause or justified reasoning for a rematch clause.
I'm sure there's a rematch clause in the contract.
Back in the States or something,
as there should
which
be,
will make it an even bigger fight.
Actual genuine
legitimate
title,
boxing
legitimate
matches,
boxing
rematch
title
clauses
fights,
are well.
You're never going to live this one down, are
you know what? Actually, on that whole rematch clause thing, I've done shows previously, both on this channel and other channels, and I've said I'm not a massive fan of rematch clauses because I think there should only be a rematch where it's justified. It shouldn't just be an automatic thing where someone fights, two people fight, and then they say, right, there's a rematch clause, so let's have a rematch. There should only be a rematch in there if the fight is close, if there's something relatively controversial that justifies us seeing it again. Because again, if you just keep fighting the same person, you're slowing up the division. The other guys are not getting their opportunity. But to go back to this fight, I'm very keen to see this fight, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I think Cool Boy Steph, if I've got this right, based on what I've seen, I would describe him as the more accomplished boxer. But Inoue can box as well. He's not just a slugger, man. He's good on his feet. He can punch hard. He's got good tactical nous, good ring generalship. So this is going to be a real good fight. But I do give Inoue the edge.
I feel like he might be more cool, calm, and composed in the environment, one may say.
And of course, as we said, Fulton is going to have to handle the pressure of going abroad and fighting in a superstars in his own backyard with all that brings. So let's see how he gets on. But I am definitely looking forward to
Could
the
bring
fight.
the best out of him. You
Quick
never know what
prediction.
these kind of hostile environments will do.
Inoue late stoppage.
So a lot of people seem to be going down that road because he's a very explosive guy.
He's a boxer that can punch.
Exactly.
That's a nightmare. The only thing is Fulton has size over him, and then, like you say, late on the crowd. If he rocks him, he's an excellent finisher, but he'll be spurred on to finish.
This fight may well come down to how able Fulton is able to hold a punch.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a good question as well. But I think if he can deal with the punching power, because let's face it, Inoue is coming up in weight. If Fulton can deal with the punching power and start to, after a certain time, take over the fight with his skills, it could get very interesting. James,
I think Inoue on points.
Inoue in
I
points.
think he drops him a couple of times, gets a couple of 10-8 rounds in there, picks up a couple more rounds while Fulton's a little bit hurt, a little bit on his back feet, and I think he probably edges it by a few rounds.
You know what? It's not often I agree with you, but I'm going to agree with you on this particular point. I do think that that's probably how it will pan out. Even if Inoue doesn't drop Fulton, I think he will hurt him enough times to be in the ascendancy.
To get him being cautious.
Yeah, and I think he will end up winning the fight. And like I said, he does have a considerable advantage fighting in Japan, and I think that he will see it home based on those factors. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that fight. Right, let's have a look at the other fight I was talking about. I referenced it earlier. George Kambosos versus Maxi Hughes. Now, this is, as we like to say, a crossroads fight. George Kambosos fighting for the IBO lightweight title. Now, we know that George Kambosos was formerly the undisputed lightweight championship of the world holder. He lost those belts to Devin Haney. They had a rematch. He got beaten again. So he's only lost to one person, but he's lost twice. So he's coming off back-to-back losses. So, you know, he wants to get his career back on track. He's fighting Britain's Maxi Hughes is from Yorkshire, Rossington, near Leeds. Now, Maxi Hughes is an interesting fighter because he's not as well known, but he's been around a long time. I think he's 33 years old now. He's had quite a few fights. And he's one of those, he's a late bloomer, if you like. He's one of those guys that's got better as his career's progressed. And he's coming off the back of some decent wins. I know he beat Kid Galahad. That was a good win. He's beaten Ryan Walsh. So there's a couple of good domestic guys. John O'Carroll's another one. Some good domestic wins on his record. He's in a little bit of a purple patch. He's going to look at this fight and think, you know what, there are windows of opportunity for me to win here, because Kambosos, even though he's a good fighter, he's coming off back-to-back losses. Maybe his confidence is not what it was. Maybe even he was not quite as good as what a lot of people thought when he took the belts of Teofimo in the first place. Nick, what's your thoughts on this fight?
I think Kambosos is a very, very talented boxer. Of the loss, I think Hughes has 5 losses. I think only one of them is by stoppage, 4 are by points.
Two KOs.
Two by KO, 3 by points. Kambosos is a very durable fighter, tends to go to points a lot. I think Kambosos wins on points. But yeah, I think, you know, Max Hughes can go in there and, like you say, window of opportunity. He's taken him at the best possible time. But I do think there are levels, and I'm not sure that Maxi Hughes is world level.
So you think he may have reached his ceiling?
I think potentially. You know, if he goes and wins this fight, where does he go next? He looks at a Teo, he looks at a Haney. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there level. I don't see that.
Well, for Maxi Hughes, he'll be looking to gate crash the world scene.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't think he's there. I think Kambosos is a good test to see if he's there, but I think it'll be a very competitive fight. But I think Kambosos gets there on points.
Yeah. I mean, come on, look. You know I love my Yorkshiremen. You know I love my Yorkshire team. You know I got a lot of love for that region of the world. But there are levels to this game, as you said. And unfortunately, compared to Maxi Hughes, George Kambosos is on the 135th floor. I'm sorry, it's just there's levels to this game. You don't go and dispatch of a man like Teofimo Lopez like that and then go and lose. I know he lost twice to Devin Haney, but let's not forget Devin Haney is
good fights,
phenomenal, and they were good fights. I do think Devin Haney did outclass him, especially in the second fight. I think you could see that mentally he was defeated, but sometimes someone can have your number. I'll
tell you another interesting dynamic of this fight is that when Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez in what was an excellent fight, a fight that, let's face it, he was a big underdog, and he won that fight, and I thought he won well. He dropped Teofimo. Teofimo dropped him later on. But I think overall he did the better work. But because of what happened to Teofimo with some of the stuff outside the ring, a lot of people were suggesting that as good a win as it was for Kambosos, it could have been that Teo had a bad night and that basically Kambosos was in the right place at the right time to exploit
but then it's disrespectful in a way to Kambosos, because what he did very quickly was went in there and earned his respect instantly within the fight, and it was a very impressive performance from him, and it's very hard to see where he is because straight after that he's only fought Devin Haney. I'd like to see him in there again against a Teofimo Lopez, against a Lomachenko, and I see this as a warm-up fight for that. Not to disrespect Maxi Hughes, I just don't think that he has enough to trouble George Kambosos. I think Kambosos too much power.
I think too much power. He's a younger guy.
Too much stamina.
I think he's got a bit more juice, man. And I think that he will... This is a massive fight for Kambosos, I would say. Because if he's going to get his career back on track, he still wants to be challenging for world titles. If you can't be... losing to Devin Haney is one thing, but if you lose to Maxi Hughes, especially at this stage in your career, I think
then people will be justified in saying that the Teofimo for Lopez fight was maybe papering over the cracks or a fluke.
Especially
But
for someone who's
9
not
months.
a big knockout artist. The point that lots of the wins that he's going to have on the way back to competing for world titles are going to be points wins, and so they're not going to look super impressive. It's not like he's going to go in there and necessarily, obviously he can get a knockout, he's capable, but it's not like he's going to go starching guys out, get these viral clips, and then get a big name like you're always talking about, get that commercial value.
He might do. He's been out of the ring for 9 months. Maybe he's been training hard. Maybe he's been handshaking Amir Khan in the background. Who knows what's going on? Maybe he comes back as an absolute killer.
It's a classic crossroads fight. Both guys need to win. I would say Kambosos needs to win a bit more than Maxi Hughes. But like I said before, Maxi Hughes would be looking at this fight as a window of opportunity to gate crash the big time. And if he can get Kambosos' name on his resume, that would be great for him. Kambosos, on the other hand, he simply has to win this fight. As I said before, losing to Devin Haney is one thing, but getting beat by Maxi Hughes is completely another, especially at this stage in Maxi Hughes' career when, let's face it, especially for those weights, lightweight, he's at quite an advanced age. But I am nevertheless looking forward to the fight because Maxi Hughes, southpaw, tough guy, comes forward but can box a little bit as well. He's crafty, he's clever. He's enjoying a bit of an Indian summer in his career. He will make it hard for Kambosos. I would imagine Kambosos will be the one coming forward, looking to land shots, looking to be busy. I'm going to agree with you guys. I do think that Kambosos will win, but I don't think it will be a walk in the park. The only thing I would say about this fight is that I find it a little bit strange. I know it's a top-ranked promotion, Bob Arum promotion, but you've got a guy from Australia, Kambosos, right? He's from Sydney, Australia, fighting a guy from, let's say, Leeds, Yorkshire. In England, right? And they're fighting in Oklahoma, America. That's a bit of a strange one for me.
That is random.
Well, Kambosos probably has a very big name over in the States. The Teofimo Lopez fight was in the States, I'm correct?
Yeah, it was, but
yeah.
Oklahoma? Weird.
I think as well, like...
Oklahoma, sweet home.
A different point to that, but I think even though he's lost the fights against Haney, that can be really good learning experience to go and take it.
He's definitely got a better resume.
Yeah, when you've dealt with someone like Haney, I say dealt with, obviously you lost. When you've dealt with someone like Haney, to go in against someone like Maxi Hughes, the levels, even if he catches you, you still got to be feeling confident that, like, okay, I've allowed that to happen more than he's put it on me there.
And let's face it, before he fought Teofimo Lopez, he secured a shot at the world title by beating Lee Selby. He was a very accomplished fighter. Okay, Lee Selby was kind of coming towards the end of his career. Yeah. But kind of Kambosos kind of put him out the door with that dominating performance he had over Lee Selby, who, at that time still had some legs.
Respectable win.
Yeah,
very,
so
very
that was a very good win. And you would have thought that Kambosos should have more than enough to pull it off. But listen, man, it's boxing. You never know what's going to happen. So, okay. I think we're all agreed then. Kambosos.
First time for everything, huh?
Kambosos,
knockout.
Knockout, right? He's not a knockout puncher, but you reckon he'll knock him out?
He's going to knock him out. I told you, look, he needs a statement. This is his comeback fight. He wants to secure a fight with Lomachenko. He wants to secure a fight with Tang. He wants to secure a fight with Devin Haney. He wants these big fights. He wants to get himself back in there. He's going to need a statement. I think it is going to be a stoppage.
Late
stoppage. He needs a statement. I need a Swedish supermodel. It's not going to happen, is it? I
mean, let's be real.
At the end of the day, you had your moment.
He has more likelihood of being stopped by a maxi pad than Maxi Hughes.
You had your moment. No, I think
I would say Kambosos is more likely to win than you're going to end up with a Swedish supermodel.
Exactly.
But anyway, go on.
Two things are very unlikely.
Don't
but I'm saying points. I say Kambosos is going to win. I just think on points. Yeah, he's not a big knockout puncher, and Max Hughes is very good.
It is possible to have a statement win without knocking somebody out.
Yeah, but
if he wins and wins well, to me, that's a statement
he specifically said, I think he's going to win by knockout, and I'm just challenging that. I think that he'll win on points.
Okay, yeah, so do I.
It may well be a statement win, but on points.
But I think you could pull a Swedish supermodel, so don't put yourself down, man.
Appreciate that.
Okay, well, we'll see. But listen, I would agree with the guys. I agree more with Nick than I do with you.
The voice of reason.
He could pull a Swedish supermodel.
I'm talking about boxing. This is DR Boxing, not DR Supermodel show. But I just think that Kambosos at this stage in his career got a bit more juice, as they like to say in boxing. He's a younger guy.
Not the illegal kind.
He has a better resume. He's the more athletic guy. He's more explosive. And I think that will see him across the line. But I do think that Maxi Hughes will test him 100%.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that fight as well. What do you guys think? You've heard what we've had to say. What do you guys think? Do you think Maxi Hughes can pull off the upset, or do you think that George Kambosos will go in there, dominate, win, and start calling out the big names at lightweight, which is what he said he's going to do if he wins this fight? Thanks very much for watching, guys. Keep you locked and loaded on DR Sports and DR Boxing. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for future content from this channel, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. We are out.